want to thank you guys for tuning into the Bootz Sports Show. I'm your host, Uncle Bootz, and yes, your Dallas Cowboys are sitting all alone atop the NFC East as they defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 17-3 in a game that seemed like it wasn't even that close for the latter part of the game anyway. Before we get in and start talking about this game, let me first mention my buddies over at yourdailycowboyfootballfocus.com. Definitely check us out over there. Very good articles. Nice group of guys and gals that do a really good job talking Cowboys and keeping us abreast of a lot of information. Also, the Silver and Blue Report. You can also watch this video in its entirety on either site. Both sites, a lot of Cowboy information, a lot of Cowboy people talking football. Just what we want to hear right now. Because to be honest with you, this team is starting to make me believe. When you see some of the things that you're watching, which we'll talk about, you have to be impressed with a team that seems like it's still fighting to try to get better. And I am seeing improvement on that defense. After all the talk we heard about Chip Kelly and how his offense was, and I heard Eagle fans saying, oh, Chip Kelly loves to play against Monty Kiffin because he loves to playing against that cover 2 defense. I heard all of that. Since the Philadelphia Eagles brought Chip Kelly in, I had Eagle fans tell me he can't wait to play against Monty Kiffin's defense because he carves that defense up. Look what he did at USC. Now, the people that watched football said, well, I didn't see a DeMarcus Ware or I didn't see a Sean Lee. I didn't see Brandon Carr. I didn't see these guys at USC. So Monty Kiffin didn't really have the scholarships nor the players. But Monty Kiffin got the right players this time. And even though it was, minus DeMarcus Ware, this defense stood on its head and made plays all day long. So, and before anybody tells me, because I'm going to start hearing this from other fans, that it was Nick Foles. Let me tell you a little bit about Nicky. Last week, and I listened to Eagle Radio. I listened to both their most popular stations, and they got the Fan and WIP out here. I'm in Northern Jersey, so that's where I listen to these stations. Those fans were raving about Nick Foles and how he was the future of the franchise after carving up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which was a respectful defense. Went in there and this kid Nick Foles threw the ball all over the place. Everybody was open, threw some real good balls, and they were all standing behind Nick Foles. So they can't tell you anything about Vic because I heard them already taking Vic out to the curb for garbage day. That's what all the fans were doing. Most of the fans were doing, I'll say. So this kid, they thought they could beat the Cowboys with this kid. And had they known this kid was going to look like this, Nick Foles, they would have put in Michael Vick, and he would have just been a pocket passer all day long, and he would have played against the Cowboys. Because Nick Foles didn't look good at all. And that was part of the reason. We had a lot to do with it, but Nick Foles had his hand in it too. He was terrible. He was awful. And I hope that, the Eagles will have a decision to make at quarterback next year because Vick is a free agent, and Foles is, his value just as quick as it rose, it plummeted right to the bottom. So, but this defense was fantastic, and it started early. You got the early sack in the first series, and these guys, George Selvies of the world. I mean, it's an amazing story to be sitting on your couch, probably contemplating how you're going to use the degree that you got from college. Nick Hayden, these guys that are making plays, probably trying to figure out where do you want to go in your field, and then you get a phone call from the Dallas Cowboys and they say, listen, give you a shot to make the team. Not only are these guys making the team, these guys are making plays and starting, and you can make an argument that Selvey is one of your top 3 defensive players on the team. I mean, you can make that argument. I mean, the guy comes up, he makes plays, he pressures the quarterback. I mean, if you put Anthony Spencer's number, and I know he doesn't play that well against the run as Anthony Spencer did, but if you put that Anthony Spencer number on Selvey, nobody would be missing Anthony Spencer. You'd all be looking at the stats and saying, "Man, Spencer showed up. He did his thing." This kid's been a good find for the Cowboys. Now, you want to talk about a player on the Dallas Cowboys that you can say is the best in the league, and I'm saying the best, and it's Sean Lee. Sean Lee is, and he's been, but he just hasn't been healthy. He is the best inside backer in football, period. And I know there's some guys that, Patrick Willis, God bless you, all these other guys. Sean Lee does this week in, week out. And what he was able to do, and he was a big contributor in stopping the run. That LaShawn McCoy was who I was most worried about in this game. And Sean Lee, if you saw plays where he was running him down before he even got to the perimeter, it was amazing. I mean, the kid is just fantastic. I mean, that's a player. If you want to buy a jersey, an NFL jersey, that is a player that you would love to have, a name you'd love to have on your back, because the kid goes in and always, he's such a great anticipatory player. You watch when the ball is snapped, watch it in super slow motion, and just watch the way he flows to the ball. He's almost moving to the direction of the football before the offense is. Before the offense is getting there, he already seems keyed in on where the ball is going. A fantastic player. I mean, definitely a fantastic player. And it's funny, one of my buddies, who always comments on my videos, by the way, Elijah Harris. It looks like Alicia Harris, but it's Elijah Harris. He called me during the NFL Combine that year. And this guy played middle linebacker for Montclair State University, my buddy. He called me during the draft and during the Combine, and he said, "There's a kid that I seen on the bags. The bags where they chop your feet and then change direction." He said, "I've never seen anything like that." And I'm not a bad guy. That's not. I mean, I play defensive back, but I didn't watch guys, chop feet in bags and stuff like that. I never really had to do that much. So he said, "I've never seen anything like it in my life. That is amazing." So I went back and watched it, and I did notice his change of direction and how it just looked different than everybody else, and it was amazing how quick he was. His change of direction, back, up, and his feet, it was incredible. And he said, if a guy can do that, a guy like that is going to be amazing in the National Football League. And so anyway, and he had played beside a kid, Navarro Bowman, at Penn State, who was, people would say was just as good as him. But this kid was standing on the table telling me, "Yo, if that kid he is a phenomenal." So anyway, it was evident when you first watched the video of the kid, whatever you saw of him, forget what you saw at Penn State. It was just evident as soon as the NFL came up and this kid was instantly looking like a bona fide player. So we got ourselves a player that you can really build around. And he's starting to come into his zone in this 4-3 defense. I saw, now Brandon Carr had the probably the best game that I've seen from a defensive back since Dion. I mean, and when you look at the type of player that he had to cover in Deshaun Jackson, and he had help from Skandrick too on some plays as far as, when they lined up Deshaun Jackson in the slot or somewhere else, Skandrick would cover him. But Brandon Carr, I mean, that's a $50 million cornerback. And that's kind of what I know I was kind of tough on him in my last video. I didn't give him a whole lot of credit covering Pierre Garçon, because I just thought there were plays that he could have made on the ball that he didn't make. He did a great job containing him and covering him, but I just felt like this game he was outstanding. That's the best that this kid's played. Played a great game against a very volatile, explosive player on the field. The guy who people aren't really going to talk about much in this game, who I thought was fantastic and was right on time because he had a horrible game last week, was Barry Church. You go watch this game and watch Barry Church coming from where he came from to stop the run, making plays and got the interception, of course. Also coming up and filling the hole on LaShawn McCoy, which that was the game. If you could contain, and the Cowboys made that approach. They said, we're going to stop LaShawn McCoy and then see if Nick Foles can beat us. And that was great game planning. For all the talk we do and all the negative talk we talk about the coaching staff, they got this one right. They did a real good job. They were prepared, and Nick Foles never got comfortable ever. I mean, you seen that game. He couldn't hit open, and there were some open wide receivers. They either dropped balls, and they had a lot of drops that game, and he missed open targets. So Cowboys got a break in that sense that Nick Foles wasn't hot either, and he was actually really cold, awful. So, looking at this team, 4 NFC wins. That's another big thing. 4 NFC wins. I mean, when you start talking tiebreakers, and I know, the Cowboys are set up right now. They're playing the best ball in the NFC East. Whether you're biased or not, I got a lot of biased buddies. They're set up right now. They're the best team in the NFC East right now. Now, 6 weeks from now, who knows? Tony could get hurt. You could lose Dez Bryant, out for 4 or 5 games. And then all of a sudden, now the Cowboys come back to the pack a little bit. But they're clearly the best team in the NFC East. So if they keep doing what they're doing, not even getting, but just playing how they're playing, they're going to win the NFC East going away. And they'll be a playoff team. But what you want to see and what we are seeing is this team is evolving. They're growing. Joseph Randle came in from Oklahoma State, the running back that we drafted in the 5th round this year. He came in. I kept waiting, and I know every fan was waiting for him to break that really long run, and it kind of never happened. I think it looked like he was running the football extra cautious. Like, I don't want to fumble the ball in my first start. I don't want to. So it looked like he wasn't as elusive. It looked like he took the yards they were going to give him. He put his head down. He covered the ball, and that was exactly what he did. And he had a pretty efficient day. He had over 100 yards, combined with receiving and rushing. So that's a good NFL day. I mean, if DeMarco Murray gave you that, we'd be saying DeMarco had a pretty good day. So that's a good job, And you don't have to rush DeMarco back. I'm hearing all these trade rumors, that the Cowboys are interested in trading. I'm hearing Maurice Jones-Drew. I'm hearing crazy stuff about 2 first-round draft picks for Adrian Peterson. I'm hearing a lot of stuff. Don't know how valid it is, and probably, it's not that valid, but I always believe this, especially here on the Bootz Sports Show, where there's smoke, there is fire. Somewhere, somebody's thinking about upgrading the running back position. So, we talked about the defense. We talked about how good they were. Jason Hatcher and these guys moving the pocket. I thought Bruce Carter played real well this week too. And how can you not forget the play how can you forget the play that J.J. Wilcox made? Deshaun Jackson runs a nice route, looked like a post corner, and all of a sudden the ball, he was wide open. It looked like, I had to watch that play 3 or 4 times because I wasn't sure that ball that Deshaun was going to be able to get both feet in, but that was going to drop right in the bucket. And J.J. Wilcox was able to get over there and out extend his hand and knock that ball away. And that's the range you're looking for right there. Now, J.J. Wilcox, he had some plays where he missed some open field tackles, and he wasn't real physical on contact tackling for some reason, which that's normally what he specializes in. So he'll work on that. Those are things that you can work on. But it was nice seeing him get back there and make that play on the ball, which would have been a clear touchdown. So, and I felt like they robbed him on that Jason Avant play. I don't think there was enough evidence to tell that ball was not secure in his hands and then hit that ground. I don't think there was enough evidence. I think they robbed him of an interception there. Bruce Carter had an interception that was taken away because of an offsides penalty, I believe, on Vega. So this team defensively played well. I thought, and I think you're starting to see it. Now I'm really believing that you're seeing it. The maturation process of Terrence Williams, our wide receiver, number 83 from Baylor. That kid is starting to, and I'm hearing people, my buddy said it first, and I wish I had echoed his sentiments first. He said, if Dez is Michael Irvin, Terrence Williams is Alvin Harper. And that's my buddy's at Sideline Chatter on Twitter, who is an Eagle fan, by the way. But he had mentioned that, and now I started hearing that being said, throughout, Dallas radio. People are starting to make the comparison. But Terrence Williams looks like a really good player. And then when you sprinkle in what Cole Beasley is able to do, go watch those plays that he made. how tough it was for and Boykin did a pretty good job covering him. But you can't cover a guy like that who changes directions so shifty. I mean, he's kind of, it reminds me of Terry Glenn and Miles Austin, the old Miles Austin, who used to be real elusive like that. But you're starting to see the decline of Miles Austin, guys. I will tell you that. You're starting to see a guy who's probably going to be getting phased out of the offense a little bit, and I'd like to see more Dwayne Harris. The fan called in. I listen to all the shows. I'm in on this, guys. I listen to everything from the Talking Cowboys to the Lunch Break. I listen to everything. The DC Star, whatever raggedy show they have on, if it's football, I listen to that too. But Dwayne, all the fans have been calling saying Dwayne Harris, can he play running back? And it's an extreme to think about changing his position to running back. But I did see the play that they threw in there that the Eagles definitely couldn't have accounted for. They didn't study that play or know that play was coming because we never ran it. Where Dwayne Harris was in the backfield, and a lot of these guys like Brian Broaddus and Mickey Spagnola, they shun you when you bring up stuff like that. Can you put him in the backfield and because the guy can and they you kidding me, you can't do that, this guy's a wide receiver, Nick Etman, all these guys, Nick Eatman, they all kind of shun you away when you bring that up. Well, the Cowboys did that, and they saw what the fans saw. And I will say this, Cowboy fans are very, very, and I mean there's a couple, pranksters and jokesters in the message boards and the forums. Cowboy fans are smart. I mean, they really are. They have a good grasp on their team. Most Cowboy fans have a great grasp on the team. And a lot of times we say stuff and then 2 weeks later it shows up on film. I mean, get the ball in Dwayne Harris's hands if you can. And he should have got the ball in his hands more than just the one time that they did that. But you're going to start seeing more of these guys. I mean, Cowboys are set up nice. Tony was efficient. Had a couple plays where guys didn't help him out on a couple plays. The Des Bryant play should have been a touchdown when he threw that Hail Mary in the end zone. The ball went right through his hands. But whatever. Tony's stats weren't great. One touchdown, 2 interceptions. Another guy runs a wrong route and he throws a pick there. Brings the defensive player right into Philip Tanner was supposed to run an out route. He runs an in. Brings the defensive player right into the line of sight where he was throwing the ball to Cole Beasley, which would have been a first down because Beasley had, I think he had Connor Barwin chasing him. On that play, and he would have been open there. But Cowboys really, really, really look good on defense. And to see this whole thing come together, you got to be excited about Detroit. Playing Detroit, going into Detroit, you have to think we match up pretty well with them. I mean, the game plan is probably going to be very similar to what you saw because if you think about it, what you saw against the Eagles, if you think about it, they're built kind of the same way. They have the same shifty kind of ball pass catching running back, and they got the kind of not as he's a bigger receiver, but you got the the receiver on the outside that can take you downfield, that can make plays. So it's probably going to be very similar. Now I'll bet you they'll double Megatron a little bit more than they did Deshaun Jackson, which was risky by the coaching staff to pretty much play man coverage the whole game and play a lot of guys up front and crowd the box so LaShawn McCoy, would have a hard time. They're going to probably play very similar, maybe a little bit more double here and there. But you have to like your chances with the way these guys are playing. And then look at this. Look at what else is happening in the NFC right now. The NFC, look at the Bears losing. And I know that probably only one team's going to make it out of our division. But if if there's a chance that two do make it out, you also want to protect that end too, where if you have to get in as a wild card, and I know that there's probably not much of a chance, but you don't know. But the Eagles can start winning games too. They're just because they lost that game to us at home, it doesn't mean that they can't go out and win games. And then all of a sudden you got two teams at 10-6 or whatever. So they're taking care of the back end. They're taking care of in the event that there's a tiebreaker. The Cowboys will win that. And there's a lot of football left to be played. And if what I'm seeing here is any indication on what we're going to see, you got to like your chances. I mean, you got to like your chances against any team in the NFL. I mean, you're seeing these, you saw the Broncos lose. You're watching these games now and you're you're saying, the Cowboys can play with these teams. They can play with anybody. So it's going to be interesting. 2 weeks in a row, we're celebrating victories, complete game victories at that. That's a rarity when it comes to Dallas Cowboy football. It's something that us fans are not used to. Complete games. I mean, the coaching staff was phenomenal. They did a really, really good job. You'll probably get Ware back next week. And you know what? Maybe they feel they can rest him again and get him 100% healthy. Because I heard he was on the field trying to determine if he was going to play. And the coaching staff kind of last minute said, we're going to save you this game, which was a smart move. So, maybe Ware can get back healthy next week and come and play because they're going to need him. They're going to need him because the difference between Matt Stafford, I mean, obviously they're a talent, but the difference between the offense that we played, let's put it that way, because we talked about some of the similarities as far as scheme, but the quarterback position, this kid can run. Matt Stafford can run too. So I saw a lot of opportunities this game where if Vic was playing, Vic was out. Now I know they would have aligned differently, but the way the pocket was collapsing and there was no one underneath because we were playing a lot of man coverage, and I guess, the Cowboys probably wouldn't have played all that man coverage if Vic was out there because you want to play zone, so you have some guys there. So that that could happen too. But Stafford can run the ball, so if he gets the same looks that Foles got, he's tucking that ball down. He's running. He's a pretty good athlete. So it'll be an interesting game to get out there to Ford Field, and I can't wait. I can't wait. If Cowboys can get 2 games over 500 and get to 5-3, that'd be a blessing. Especially when you look at how the rest of the division is going to start to separate itself from the Dallas Cowboys, because I think this loss really hurt the Eagles. The Eagles haven't won a home game in a calendar year, so that you can't count on them winning home games. Now they're going to play against a Giant team that's 0-6, so you would venture to think that somebody has to win that game, right? I mean, somebody has to win it. So the Giants can't win a game. The Eagles can't win a game at home. That game will be at home. You hope the Giants win that game because the Giants are really out of it. They're out of it. You hope the Giants win that game. And that gives you more breathing room, against the Philadelphia Eagles. More room for falter. You know what I mean? So anyway, go ahead and celebrate. Not the big confetti, the little confetti, because it's just a one regular season game. I don't want, don't do too much celebrating because we haven't really done anything yet. But I'll tell you what, our defense is not going to be pushed around. And you got guys, look at Romo. Romo's gaining confidence in these guys like Williams and Beasley. Remember, those are guys that Romo didn't really know, last year. He didn't know these guys. In the beginning of this year, rather, he didn't know. Didn't really know that he could trust Beasley. He knew he could throw the ball to him. He had a couple completions last year. But did he know that that's going to be my reliable, when all else fails, when Witten's, not in sight, I can go to Cole Beasley? He didn't know that. I mean, that's a pitch and catch every day. So Terrence Williams on the touchdown, that slant route, I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, you're seeing this team really, really get better week in, week out. Coaching staff's doing a great job. Fans are doing an even better job because we're recognizing, we're supporting it, we're getting happy, we're getting behind this football team. And don't be one of these bandwagon, or don't be one of these guys that are talking about, I'll get on the bandwagon once I see this, once I see that. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because that's not a fan. A real fan sticks through it, through thick and thin. And we've all been through it. Guys, I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your week. Definitely give me a thumbs up. Comment. Fill up the comment sections. I answer all your questions. You know that already. So, Bootz Sports, I'm out of here.